way too much. Dawnbreaker's stat gain is absurd, so you get a Siphon under like full HP. So
do you rather play Agicor against an Elder Titan though?
Yeah, I guess that's where it's kind of difficult, right? So it's a pretty good opener. That's why PSG.LGD did go for that one. So it does, it already makes things a little bit more complicated for T1.
So now that LGD picks up the Earthshaker Snapfire, I'm assuming is the Earthshaker 3 that we've been seeing a lot these days, or could they flex the ET like OG sometimes does?
Looking at what they got so far, PSG.LGD, they ran that Prophet exclusively as a position 3. So this time around it might need to be a mid hero, and then you have Earthshaker as the offlane. Snapfire plus EP seems like the support duo in this one.
Okay.
They have probably the best heroes in the game to choose where you want to take a fight.
Yeah.
With Earthshaker, EP, Snapfire, Roche fights are going to be almost impossible for T1 to defend. Yes, you have Magnus, you have Skewer, but PSG.LGD can, with a lot of their spells, just say stop, we're taking this fight out where we want it to be.
There's so much team fight again. Just every time I see PSG.LGD, they cover themselves with absurd team fight. And again, I'm already looking at the scaling. They've got T. They have the carries for the last pick. Well, second to last pick, of course. T1 does have a last pick time around. They set themselves up for late game. So T1, I mean, what's the option that they want to go for their carry? And I think that's why we see PSG.LGD also going for the Earthshaker, because they're trying to deter T1 from going for a carry. I've seen so many times these Shakers as this 3 position just dominate these melee carries, so now T1 like, okay, so we'll grab a Medusa so that I don't play into this Earthshaker that's just eating enchantments and fissures.
And on the Medusa point, we're talking, well, you can't get a strength carry because DP, you can't get an edge carry because Elder Titan. Medusa, edge carry does not rely too much on armor, so ET not that much of a counter. But is there synergy with the Medusa in our draft right now?
She doesn't benefit that much. She doesn't get the cleave, has a built-in cleave, so Empower still going to be some extra damage, which is nice. One thing PSG.LGD needs to be careful about is possibly going inside a triangle early on and try to block the ancient stacks or the big camp so that Medusa cannot get that much farm. They don't have the best heroes to invade. Like, they're good at rotating, but they're not as good at taking the stack as T1 is.
And what's the role of the Dawnbreaker as well? Because the healing with the team, not great synergy. The global ability is just okay here.
Yeah, it's just okay. I think it's just like this T1 idea of always just having some type of counter initiation. That's like their jam. So I feel like the Dawnbreaker is that they wanted to have in there too. But it's different. I mean, I'm not going to see this hero too much, so I'm a bit skeptical on it, especially because they haven't played it. Did they play it here at all? Maybe they had one game that I don't remember, but I don't remember them playing it.
I don't remember them playing it.
Okay.
So, right now for T1, we're missing one last hero. If we're just looking at 4 heroes, what is the weakness you're seeing? What they're missing on their draft?
I want a secondary initiator. I know Lion eventually does get that like Blink Dagger, same thing with the Magnus, but I want somebody else that also goes in and starts fights. Also a little bit damage lacking. Right. Medusa takes some time to build up, so I want someone else that comes online a little bit earlier and is looking to be that playmaker with the Lion, with the Dawnbreaker.
And if we're looking at LGD, Lacoste, is there anything they're missing in this draft right now?
So far, so good. This is a great early game-oriented lineup that scales really well, especially once ET has his aura maxed out. There's going to be a lot of stuff on the ground, a lot of long-range damage. Just a Fissure into Snapfire ulti, ET Stomp could get someone killed, especially the backlines of T1.
Okay, the final bans are coming in, and it's going to be actually, Pop and Batrider, so kind of a mix here.
Am I hearing the shaker clapping? Is that what it is, right?
Oh, it might be actually. Wow, the audience.
I got a little bit of a background right there, yeah?
Yeah, it's true.
All we're missing is our boy Ogre.
Yeah,
he's the best clap for me.
Yeah,
they were the clappers, and yeah. See, for those of you that think this audience is fake, well, I just have the stadium filled with people, Earthshaker fans. Is the last pick for T1 advantage this time? Could they surprise us with something? Because last time they couldn't really fix anything, they couldn't really pull off anything.
Yeah, maybe Ursa wouldn't be as bad. I just really love anything that can build into Diffusal Blade against Medusa. An overall matchup. During the season 2, it was starting getting popular, Ursa as a counter pick to Medusa, because she was extremely powerful at that point. And I thought it's not going to be a good thing, but Ursa just completely destroys Medusa.
Yeah. Secret's been running it a lot, so they see it as a high value pick. Would you agree with your side?
Yeah, definitely can see a gap closing built into their team with like Snapfire and stuff like that. It's always nice to have any type of like you know, most of these Ursus, they are building Blink again a bit more, but having that extra thing is always really nice. I'm just gonna go back, just, hey, stable, hey Tombe, you're playing versus Medusa, Reflection's good. High base armor as well. Have to worry because now the Lion is gonna have a little bit of a better game, especially in mid game if it does get to like this farming thing where you're just hexing and mana draining illusions in team fights. So this Lion actually went up a little bit for me in priority, a little bit better now for T1. It's the stability, right? It's just it's like Ame, what are you going to carry the game with? Okay, it's a pretty decent TB game. It's not a bad one by any means. So let's see what T1 does for the solution. Do they pick something like those like Tinkers, those Zeus's? Are they going to try to hard counter this Terrorblade?
For Zeus, and they can go for it. Is Ember Spiller still available? He is. Yes, not enough. There's one silence, long duration silence from Dead Prophet. Oh, they go
okay.
Doom.
That's more T1. Okay.
Yeah. So tell me, what does this Doom do for the draft?
He just needs the full commit. Like, he needs the full commit for the Terrorblade. We've seen teams do it in the past. I know VP was one of the biggest ones, like years ago, where it was like they saw Terrorblade, you just pick Doom and you Doom him in the entirety of the game, no matter what inside the team fights. And also we'll be able to keep scaling going. That's the thing. I've seen a lot of these Midases. So we have a pretty good scaling Tricolor coming out from T1. If they're able to slow the pace of the game down, they also potentially could have some, you know, late game prowess versus PSG.LGD.
The only hero that kind of stands out to me is this Dawnbreaker. I don't feel like it fits in the lineup because you don't have anything else that is potentially global to play with. I don't see too much synergy with it, but I definitely do love the last pick Doom because it's Carl's probably best hero from what I've seen, and also hitting these right timings, the Hand of Midas that you mentioned. Once you hit that Shiva's Refresher, this is when it becomes like extremely strong timing for T1. So they're not really playing in this early game. They're going to be, you know, a bit more focused on the defensive side of Dota this time around.
Right. Well, we've heard the panelists. Now we can get right into. Oh, wait, no, actually, no. We need to know what's going to happen in this game. We need to know what to look out for, and that's what here. Give us last word.
Lại da, lại đảo rồi da.
Cái này đi, quay bo đi.
I gambled, you lost. Handsome devil, aren't I? What did you expect?
Thank you, BFA. First block, Cinderella has caught it on camera beautifully. Definitely saw this kind of work in slow motion, but we caught it officially. First blood goes the way of PSG.LGD. This is game 2 of best of 3 between these two in the upper bracket for TI10 main stage. Cinder, what are your thoughts on these particular lineups and your favorite hero right now, Dawnbreaker?
I think LGD have a really high chance of winning this game because they got first blood. All jokes aside, yeah, I love Dawnbreaker. I think the hero is super fun. I actually thought we were going to see it more at TI and given more priority than it has been, but hasn't exactly been shining, sitting on a measly 25% win rate in group stages, 2 and 6. So
very sad to see.
Only been banned 5 times. I think a lot of people even predicted it to be the most banned hero of the event, and just was. We're getting the replay here.
Yeah, that was basically a ravage by Lion there. But yeah, Zephyr ends up being first blooded there. But yeah, I agree with Lakaza. I was thinking the same thing, that typically when you have a Dom, I mean, again, it's just the support here, but when you have a Dom, you want some sort of initiate that has a lower cooldown you can set up consistently with your ult. They have RP, a very long cooldown. That's basically it. So and the reason I bring that up is because Solar Guardian is kind of the reason you here, I feel, other than the laning stage, which she's very strong at.
Yeah, a simple breakdown of Dawnbreaker is you're really strong in the first 5 minutes, and then you have your ult, and that's pretty much it as a support. Like, your other spells are nice for a while, but later down the line, you do very little against BKBs, against heroes getting enough stats and getting more mobility. They start trying a lot of what you do. And it's super situational because you need time to wind it up, unlike something like Lion that just kind of, as Carl is almost dying in mid here.
Yeah.
Nothing to say.
Well, let's talk about this lane. Nothing to say, obviously playing the Death Part versus Doom. We're not seeing as much Doom mid in this match. I want to say about 6 months ago, this was basically the standard. How about this matchup overall?
Really little DP in this matchup just because you're playing against a melee strength hero. Some of DP's best matchups are the ones where she can keep running down with Spirit Siphon in lane and just do a lot of damage, and should be very good against Carl. We're still very good for a couple of waves. He has 9 CS here, not shabby at all. Yeah, look at the lane positioning right now in mid. This is what you want to see. I'll sit here.
Yep.
Right, just keep an eye. Every time the wave is here, Carl comes forward. You bet your bet is going to get siphoned, and you bet he's going to run down a little bit here. Actually going for 2 points of Trip Swarm, and Carl has to yield again. Deny. Oh, nothing to say. We'll just, I think, try the here again. So
yeah, I want to say back when Devour gave health regen, this would have been much more manageable for Doom.
Yeah.
But now it's obviously burst damage is what you mostly fear, but this damage from DP is just constant. The Spirit Siphon seemingly always up. A lot of rune control. You can push the waves.
Yep.
There's almost like, what's the reasoning for Doom? Is this just picked like, okay, didn't have to be originally the mid, but they just felt like it fit better this game for whatever reason.
Above all, I think it's calm, right? It's T1. This is their best strategy, is playing Medusa, Doom, and Magnus, right? They're basically like, okay, we're down 0-1. Let's pick our best heroes that work together. And T1, I just think, when I think of this team, I think Doom and Medusa as their 2 best cores. They got both of them. It is pretty much on the greedy side, right? Like Doom, Medusa, Magnus doesn't get much greedier than that. But at the same time, you look at LGD's lineup, which isn't necessarily the fastest either.
Yeah, we got the Spirit Siphon into the Crypt Swarm. I mean, honestly, pretty easy kill and pretty expected as well.
I feel like that's not the best voice used from Carl there. I don't feel like I don't feel like not to see lost. Yeah. But I do feel like Carl gambled, so he got 50% of his voice line right. So, all
right, if you agree with Cinder, make sure to cheer.
Yeah.
We'll know if they agree in about 10 seconds.
Which we both know is the best.
Great.
Correct. Thank you, Shannon, for ruining it.
I definitely remember that quote.
Yep. We always finish each other's
horses.
Yes. Thank you.
Carl looking for a high five. Don't think it's going to be reciprocated. There's the cheers for Cinder, and they love you. Look at that. They're even putting the gold thingies in there, whatever those are called.
I love you back.
Bot lane.
Hope some people are going to
We're seeing a repeat of Ame on that Terrorblade, and that panel was kind of discussing this. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with them? Roz, you got to hold that, Carl. Don't hold that, Cinder, and let it go.
Not holding it?
Let it go.
Do I agree with the draft panel on?
The Terrorblade pick. Looks like Zephyr is going to get to the high ground thanks to that Celestial Hammer.
I think it's solid. Like, obviously, the last pick of the draft here was the Doom, which fares well against the Terrorblade, but they didn't have that information at the time, but Terrorblade does fare pretty well against Medusa, I would say, for the most part. GQ on Zephyr.
Pops the mango, but remember, Zephyr, Dawnbreaker, super, super tanky at this stage of the game. Either will die, it'll end up in stalemate.
My experience playing Dawnbreaker as a support, Terrorblade is a rough matchup. He just overpowers you eventually. It's just too strong. You can't really go in without getting killed, especially when the Scott comes out. As far as the Magnus and Lion matchups, I think it was maybe also just by the scarcity of good carries that were left, right? I think they wanted the Morphling that T1 ended up last banning, so good ban. And you just looked at, okay, we have a lineup with insane teamfight. We have good lanes, so we can afford to go for a greedy late game carry that needs a bit of time to build up, because we've got all the boxes checked basically, and Terrorblade was the best strong late game carry left in the pool. And all
nothing to say. Already using Exorcism in mid lane and already doing half damage to the tower. They won't be able to finish in all likelihood, but it does require a few rotations. In fact, I'm going to get a Doom TP as well, but see Y on the sideline with the Echo Stomp. It's going to connect successfully. Not sure if LGD can actually pursue any further, but still, damage done.
Thank God. what's that, 80% of that tower? Minute 5?
Yeah, and that's the level of first exorcism of the game. We're going to see the cookie come into fruition as well. Carl getting chased a bit, but you can see the star here forcing nothing to say out. But again, this is 2v3 in the mid lane. This is going to create so much space for LGD's core to farm.
Yeah, we might end up in a situation again similar to the last one where Ahmed just gets completely free reign because nothing to save for. There's so much pressure onto mid. Seems to be an emerging pattern here. Both Dragon Knight and DP have a similar style of accomplishing this. And in last game, the third pick Dragon Knight. This game, they actually second pick DP very early in the draft. So seems to be a strategic approach for them to secure Ahmed a good game. Look at his eyes, by the way. 21 denies on the Terror Blade, just really shutting down Magnus in lane. Not letting him get very much here for Cuckoo. Working on Helm of the Dominator. Not sure how much I like that this game on Doom.
We got the cookie initiation again. It's Beyond and company. Fissure connects, but the counter Stormbreaker with the rotation from Whitemon. Looks like at the very least one. Get the trade they're looking for. 23 Savage, in fact, getting the credit for that one.
Ended up getting blocked off a little bit there. And Zephyr will quickly go and die to the neutral so he can get back to base faster.
This is looking like close to a tower death. 7 minutes. Look how low the tower is right now. Nothing to say. Just having his way this game. Which typically for the opposing team, not a good sign. But I mean, looking at T1 side, obviously Medusa, extremely good late game carry. And then we've talked about this so many times, but once Doom does get online, you can just delete a core, which Ame would obviously be their first choice.
This does feel like the kind of game where if it goes late and PSG.LGD don't manage to truly execute the Death Prophet, I think T1 have a very good shot if they're, if not favored, very late into the game. And T1 likes playing long games, as we know. They have, especially in previous tournaments, had some marathon games over an hour. And if it gets to that stage, if they can weather the storm, I think they have a really good shot here with Doom Medusa. So hopefully for them, they get to build up. Obviously, LGD's strategy is to well so far. They have a 1k lead against a Doom mid. Level 3 Devour, so effectively against a lot of other strategies you could consider maybe a 2k lead, almost taking mid or as well. So definitely on the back foot right here, RT1. But I've doubted their Medusa games before, and they just, oh no.
Yeah, nothing to say. Exorcism rotation to the top lane. Fissure will connect, but nothing to say. They're not going to see him. 23 is out. Oh, Fakeon very close to actually getting that cancel.
Fissure actually ended up.
Yeah, that was unfortunate angle there.
Didn't get the blocking angle he was hoping. Ended up blocking himself more than the Medusa, actually. Now, defense is actually coming in. Carl from the side. Gets the courier kill, so now they know he's there.
Comes from the sideline, Zephyr. There's the Doom onto Faith Beyond, trying to run away here. Looks like, at the very least, he will drop. Whitemon might be the sacrifice to say. Exorcism is already defeated. Wise in the vicinity. They will take him out at the end, 1 for 1. Now Spirit Siphon onto Carl. Echo Stomp as well. But I would assume that T1 able to just walk away very safely here. But
so 1 for 1, but they get the core.
Yeah.
They get that kill. Who got the bounty for it? It was Carl himself, killing the courier as well as the Shaker, approaching top net worth now on this mid. Doom Midas is arriving as well, so the ramp is really going to start now. Here's a nice little ball refill from Whitemon as well.
There's a Midas for Carl.
The swiftness aura here. I thought he was going to take the Centaur, but obviously the swiftness aura might help him a little bit with the farming speed in the jungle.
You really like tomatoes, I'm sure. Delicious ketchup.
As does anyone sane, since TV.
Well, if they're cooked, maybe. Carl, he's going to be spotted here. Should be fun. He's going to get... That's not the hook stop. No, that one was not worth, I don't think. The tower taking heavy damage, but here's the rotation from T1. Even 23 Savages come to play. Trying to pick up Jin Q. Looks like he'll survive.
Oh, man.
On the other side, Ame with 23 Savage trying to keep him up. Ain't gonna happen. And this tower will fall one way or the other, but Cuckoo looks like he wants to defend. And trying to deny with the Centaur, but he's gonna take heavy damage if he gets any further. It's just gonna be given up.
And something we haven't talked about very much, if at all. I really like Elder Titan as a hero against Medusa. I think when you're playing against these static pushers, like let's say Medusa, Terrorblade,
Yeah,
etc.
like the siege tank type.
Yeah, you don't have very much mobility going your way, so it's so easy for Elder Titan to land these stomp every single time Medusa shows. They have nothing to get the Medusa out of there yet, like no swap, force, haste, anything.
Not the best fissure, but it's going to result in a kill either way.
And it's going to probably lead to a tower.
Indeed. No, that's actually a really good point, but I mean, it's interesting that you've talked about this many times, how strong Elder Titan is right now. We've talked about the win rate and pick rate and all that good stuff, and I think it's really cool. Past TIs, like the pick ban system is a lot different, right? We had more bans in the first phase, which means now there's a handful of heroes that teams are really prioritizing. Some of them are going to get through, and it changes all the time. The fact that we're actually seeing some of these heroes consistently get through is pretty cool, in my opinion.
For sure. You can't really fault either of the teams for the other bans they're doing, right? There's just a lot of heroes that are really good, and there's a lot of
ban everything. But there's the Doom onto Ame and the Finger of Death. Very nicely played from T1. Beautiful positioning.
Oh, he died.
Several times over.
I think they could have definitely killed him at least 2.5 times there.
Hey,
with what they did.
Finger charge is worth it, Synderen.
Of course.
Got to stack those things up.
Maybe he didn't need to do them. Like Terrorblade isn't exactly very tanky yet, but they get it done. They play it safe. They really want that big Ame kill. I think he didn't die last game, so probably really good to kill Terrorblade at least once across 2 games. Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's it's an understatement, no doubt about it. But top net worth goes to Carl on the Doom. No big surprise, despite the little bit of a rough start. We figured that he would bring his way back just because he is playing the Doombringer after all.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. I think it's Thunderclap.
I think a mana, by the way. He actually does cast it here.
A lot of
they actually changed.
What's a lot to you?
No, okay. It used to be like 150 mana. I just haven't eaten that. I stay away from tomatoes, like I said. So it makes a lot of sense, actually. Potato, on the other hand.
No, and you definitely don't play micro heroes.
Good. That's true.
So
that's true.
You go into the draft screen, you see is Pangolier banned? No, then I pick Pango. Is Pango banned? Yes, then I pick Centaur. So not exactly a lot of variety there.
And you just ruined my pubs for the next year, Synderen. Now everybody knows my strategy. Some stacks
they figured you out with Overhaul.
Created here by T1. As it looks like that Centaur is going to be able to push the bottom tier 1 successfully. As Black Dagger already online, which I guess it is position 3, so you're going to get more farm priority for Faith Beyond on this Earthshaker. So we'll see if this is end up being go time for them. I mean, they have the Yules, nothing to say. I would assume for BKB. It looks like Boots of Travel first before the BKB stop.
Yeah, it was one or the other, mostly. Because he has both of them in quick buy. No, it's a standard build. You go. Sometimes you will see a Kaya Sanj. Kaya Yasha we don't see on it, really.
Now there's the jump in, blink reveal. It's gonna kill on Whitemon.
If you were wondering what that flying thing was, DP has been changed to 730. We've seen a lot, but the silence is now a projectile. The cast point has been lowered, so it's quicker to cast than it was for the last couple of years, but it needs to travel. So if you're in very short, or very close proximity, it's actually better than it was before.
That's one of those.
For every distance target is worse.
That's one of those skills that that was the longest unchanged skill, basically, like since Dota 1, other than like the duration and balance-wise, but in terms of how it works.
Conceptually, it's been the same forever, yeah.
There's an OG right there, for sure.
I have a good piece of trivia for you.
Oh boy.
Can you name a hero that has the exact same spells that it's had for the entire history of the hero?
Ben? No. I mean, Warcry's slightly different, I guess. All right, I have to think about this one. Don't tell me. We have a 4-man smoke here from LGD. Carl. Faith Beyond jumps in. Solar Guardian's coming, but you can see the immediate doom into the Arc Splitter, though. Looks like they're going to be able to get the RP off as well. Faith Beyond to the deck. That finish. Nothing to say. And T1 showing up in spades. They have a 3K net worth lead. Make it to his Jin Q. Shockwave into the Centaur. And they're going to drain the follow. And another. Okay, Echo Stomp. Delays the inevitable, it seems. They 3 kills for T1. A Y on the run. Fine. Potentially some damage to this tier 1 mid as well.
Very good stuff there from T1. So fast, right? They immediately see any sort of opening. They just pile on. all of their key ultimates here, but it's well worth it. So this Echo Slam doesn't clip the Doom, so immediately gets doomed. Solar Guardian comes in, and they just connect very quickly, and this RP is what seals the deal. They get nothing to say. No good way to cookie him. Very, very well done by T1.
Yeah, good execution.
4K lead. They're in a great position right now.
Quick finish from Carl, as always, as we're going to see another kill on the Snapfire here in the replay.
So where were we with Sven? Sven used to have Devotion on.
Okay.
Used to have an
Actually,
armor.
I don't remember that one. That's before my time.
It's a very old one. There is a small handful of heroes, I think. I want to say it's less than 5 that have the original spells still. Like entirely, basically only number tweaks.
We have a pick pull usage. Very nicely done as Roshan is being attentive despite being down 4K networks, and they're in LGD. Looks like they're gonna get it.
Yeah.
T1 not accepting this.
This is basically what happens when you pick these massive ultimate lineups against the team that can kill Roche, right? If you don't manage to get the Roche off it, they're gonna go and take that objective. So very good awareness here from LGD that they can get away with this. Probably gonna give it to Ame. So unfortunately for LGD, I guess you could say unfortunate. I don't know if it's unfortunate, but both of their Aegis carriers are transformation-based heroes to an extent, right? Its ulti doesn't transfer through Aegis. I think there was a time when it did, I want to say.
I don't remember that.
But I'm pretty certain. Anyway, they're gonna give it to Terrorblade, and Terrorblade is probably one of the best transformation heroes to have it on because of how much he still does with the second life. He has Reflection, he has the Sunder, the Conjure images as well.
And when you get Ags, he gets basically a few seconds of meta anyway as
Dead Dawnbreaker.
You can just see that's position 5.
Yep.
Still takes a while to kill. She's beefy.
Yep. Good strength gain, has the mech that he didn't even use, so could have taken a little bit longer to kill, but actually might as well have used it. It would have probably been ready again. Relatively relevant.
23 Savage now pressuring this tier 1's gonna fork out the fort as Faith Beyond does have Echo Slam back online.
They're a little bit cautious about pushing here because the PSG.LGD heroes went missing top, and from T1 perspective, they could have easily smoked or TP'd mid-tier to set up a defense here. Now finally Faith Beyond is going to go in and defend. He almost let the tower fall to creeps, as a matter of fact, before he got the confidence to go here. I guess at some... Okay, they must have left, right? Yeah. But he didn't have a ward seeing T1's T1 kicking off, so he couldn't confidently go and cover that tower. But PSG.LGD understand how important it is, and even though it's in deny range, I reckon they'll keep it standing here just for the vision and the potential TP control later. The glyph is on a very long cooldown, however, so still think 23 Savage will want to go there. But it can function effectively as a bait, right?
Yep.
When you're playing against a team and there's a mid-tier 1 tower and all these teams know,
potentially huge double pumping on the Doom.
Doesn't want to doom him. He doesn't know where the best of the team. And of course, there is the Aegis.
Yeah, that's true.
No Aegis there. That's an instant doom for sure. But yeah,
so ends up gating that smoke attempt from T1. Yep. Still 3 minutes to go for this Aegis timer. Who were casting was it yesterday where they weren't afraid to go in on that Aegis on that high ground?
Yeah, that was IG against Spirit.
Yeah. You see the meta popped, and tier 2 tower taking heavy damage as a result. They finally does T1 that mid tier 1. T1 gets that mid tier 1 Cinderin. Very easy to set.
Yep.
He looks to be next for Ame. And yeah, this is just going to be given up. And just perspective. Let's pick pull on Whitemon now. Does each team have?
Sometimes I wonder how they get their ideas. Like, who came up with that? Why
Probably
does it have to
Slacks.
squeal like that?
Probably Slacks.
Probably.
I mean, he came up like an axe, so
yeah,
anything's possible. Which we're not actually seeing much. I'm gonna say the first couple days of it just started to fall off a bit.
Basically the thanks Obama of Dota is thank Flex, I think. A pretty great idea for Flex, thanks.
Many more to come, I'm sure.
like T1 might want to make a move again here. Like, they didn't use anything. They have their smoke ready. This is one of the biggest benefits to Dawnbreaker in action right now, by the way. Similar to how Spectre will play as a carry, Dawnbreaker can just sit on the opposite side of the map and keep covering the dead lanes, I've heard it's called. And then whenever your team makes a move, you can always connect with Solar Guardian. And if you do get ganked comparatively to a Spectre, it's a relatively minor loss. So expect to see Zephyr sitting up here a lot of the time, just pushing out this lane. If he gets ganked by 3 heroes, it's okay, you know, whatever. But actually, we have the smoke coming in here. They want to try to see if they can get a jump on Beyond. He seems very aware.
Oh, whips himself, trying to find Faith on in the trees. Can't totem. Blink Dagger's not up from their 6 seconds, but looks like he has used successfully. In the meantime, they will find a pickup onto Jin Q instead.
Yeah, knows there's ward there now, of course, being caught in the trees, but what a great play from Faith Beyond. Just stand there in that tree line and get out. The one escape he had, and he found it.
30 seconds on the age, so we're going to see Solar Guardian with the whip Doom. In the vicinity, gets the shockwave. It's going to be an easy kill for T1 again. Nothing to say, just ticks away there. So T1 starting to mount a very, very big lead. Of course, it is a Doom game, so have to keep that slightly in mind here.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the percentage?
71%.
That's quite a bit. Faith Beyond, Fissure. Not going to follow up with anything here. Faith is working on the Aghanim Scepter for himself.
What do you think about the Sheesh voice line?
Like it? Who does that?
Whitemon, whenever you want to do literally anything.
I'll have to hear it. That's from Undying.
How have you not heard it?
I'm not gonna lie, I blocked
like 20 times this game.
Cinder, I don't even listen to you. You think I listen to the voice line? The fact that you find that so funny is in and of itself, I think. Now, ooh, he's actually working on Ags. Very cool. So Dawnbreaker, Aghanim Scepter. Basically more control with your ult. You can pop it immediately, so it's only a 1 second lag time, or you can wait longer. It heals more, and it provides 60% evasion for any allies.
Which is godly against Terrorblade, who generally doesn't buy MKB or doesn't want to.
But then again,
like, doesn't do much against DP.
Okay. All right. That is going to be a kill. So PSG.LGD successfully take out Carl, who again is the top net worth right now.
Maybe a little bit of a false feeling of safety because of the ward that didn't have up there, but they do. They knew it was there, and it's a different angle than standing in the tree line. Went a little bit too far, and it's a big pick for LGD. Unfortunately for them, Roshan can't respawn yet, so they won't be able to get that with the kill, but it's still a very, very major gold swing when you kill such a rich hero. The kill itself is worth 1,200 gold in just relative difference.
And then a minute without him farming and
and it quickly adds up.
Using his Midas, his Devour, all that good stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it does feel like a mini Alchemist, but this time you feel the power of him. T1 Ags is completed on Faith Beyond, so he's going to be jumping around on that Earth. Doesn't really have right now, though.
I'm actually surprised we do end up getting a draft with T1 in it that gets a last pick Doom. Like, this seems like such a good ban against this team in general in the second phase, but even in the third phase, LGD did not want to cover their bases against that one, and T1 say thank you very much, even willingly picking it into a hard love matchup, and they're still making it work. GQ.
He's out like he's fun. Oh, right at the last second, Whitemon. Yeah, they know the ward is there.
Very early finger of death. I'm actually not sure he got the stack there, but...
Well, he has 4. I believe he has 3, so...
Just to clarify, when I said he's out, I meant of him.
Yeah, that's the old cast.
If there was any sort of confusion there. Yep. Obviously, very clearly going to die there.
And so many of those Tinker wards have been placed and de-warded in a game with no Tinker. Yeah. Just seeing like how much split pushing is occurring in this meta right now, regardless of what hero are in the game. Now, let's do some item progressions here. So, Ahmed has the Scotty S and Y.
Close to BKB.
Yeah, just about 1,000 away from finishing that. Looks like nothing to say. He has his Boots of Travel BK Yules and Shivas, so like you said, it was very standard build overall.
Kind of surprising to see them smoke here, don't you think? Like, he's 800 gold away from BKB. Do they feel cornered enough that they have to make this move? I get that you have the 9-second BKB on DP, but getting the one on Terrorblade on top of it would be really good. I guess they need to cover the area because Roshan can respawn any second now. So maybe this is a necessity. That's got to be it. If Roche couldn't be up, I don't think they do the smoke.
Savage, Fidger in totem initiation. Not to say off his BKB, but he just runs away now.
Oh, why did he BKB?
A little bit of a misstep here potentially from LGD. We'll see if T1 can take advantage. It's now 23 Savage. You can see his build. That's why BKB.
This is really
one of
bad
the few mistakes from LGD we've seen.
BKB and Exorcism for what? Like, now you can just lose Roche in 30 seconds. You won't have one of your cores effectively.
Barra wants to jump in. He does so. Immediately to the ankle side, but there's a Solar Guardian. Will he live? Finally, the right clicks will be enough to take him out, but the RP of the 3 heroes into the score. 23 Savage is going ham here, but finally, the Sunder Ame as 23 Savage forced to TP out, but no, the BKB ends, and he gets cancelled. The right clicks are there, along with nothing to say. With that Spirit Siphon, 23 Savage trying to hold his ground, but eventually these right clicks will be too much as Ame just continuing to pound upon him, but nothing to say is to get to the damage from Medusa. One more right click will do it. He dies. The double kill from 23 Savage, the buyback onto the Elder Titan. Ame getting extremely low, finally dropped to the deck, as this is a complete disaster for both teams. Everybody's dying. Finally, Zephyr TPing out will be successful. It feels like everybody died. 7 deaths for
My
PSG.LGD.
favorite kind of fight. Nobody won.
Goodness.
Everyone goes out a loser.
Oh.
Wait, who gained net worth there? Somebody must have gained something.
Well, it looks like LGD somehow did, despite the
big winner was Terrorblade with 1,100 net worth gained.
Very
overall.
good.
What an insane fight. After that 3-man RP, 3-man horn toss, there's no way LGD get that outcome. How in the world did they end up? It's obviously because Doom is dead. Like, instant stun from Shaker. Faith Beyond with the super... Doesn't stun Doom. They're screwed, man. But... they end up kind of salvaging it.
This cancel TP.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Look at the net worth right now. 7k lead for T1.
Yeah.
When the fight ends, it's the same.
Yeah, we'll just call that a wash.
I think, okay, pay attention to what happens now. So Y is going to walk in on his Elder Titan and start hitting the line. I think if he walks next to Medusa earlier than this, does that straight away so they get the natural order, I think Ame might have actually survived this fight. So... could have been optimized a little bit here where we're kind of, you know, picking apart the minor details when it comes to the level of play, but that was actually a crazy fight.
Oh, but we got the Titan Sliver now sitting there for Ame. The dream neutral drop.
Yep. Okay. He has the Paladin Sword. I would imagine he wants to swap. Does he want to keep Paladin Sword just for the lifesteal? He's currently not changing.
Oh, really?
Usually you do see Terrorblades gravitate toward Titans for a couple of reasons. First of all, your base damage is insane in Metamorphosis, so you get way more damage out of that item than most heroes do. Secondly, your hero is primarily susceptible to disables, so having the status resistance helps a lot. And it gives magic resistance on a hero that has a lot of armor. It's like incredible. This item was made for this hero, basically. He's still opting for the Paladin Sword because he wants the lifesteal. I guess against Doom, he might feel like that's more valuable.
He's not queuing up a Satanic either, so maybe the fact that he's not going lifesteal right now.
Yeah, maybe he has to go MKB because of the X on Dawn, and then
the fact that you have to do that because of position 4 bot Ags.
Yep.
Kind of crazy. But we did see the impact there. I think he didn't hold the Solar Guardian for that long. And we talked about how it's RP setting that up if you want to actually extend the duration.
Okay with Lion on a single target, but it's not the greatest, I agree.
As we can see, smoke now from PSG.LGD. So despite that being wash, you can see T1 continuing to pull away just a bit in terms of net worth. That's what happens with Doom, a mid-game to late-game Medusa. It just becomes really hard to handle. And Roche is being attempted. See if LGD can actually contest here.
Well, they can keep doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Elder Titan might be the best hero in the entire game at contesting Roche.
He is the king of stalling together with Tinker.
It's already half health though.
Old Tinker,
This is the Aegis and Shard. Scouting it out with the Astral Spirit. Getting the massive damage to come, I'm sure. Echo Stomp will miss though.
Actually, are they just going to give it up here? It looks like PSG.LGD are not committing to the pick.
Yeah, they're showing Faith on close to the tier 2. Yeah, I mean...
BKB?
Yeah. All right,
okay.
They force out the BKB, but yeah, you're right. This is just completely left for T1 now. So Aegis, Shard. Shard will be consumed by Medusa. So that's going to be the single... Oh, Doom on to nothing to say. In the meantime, Carl, see if they can actually pick this up. Cuckoo does get off the horn toss, and a theft from Whitemon is enough. So, I mean, typically when you're going for Roche like that, the other team gets a pick up, but in this case, T1 gets both.
I have a fun fact for you that I just realized. The one game PSG.LGD have lost this tournament, they had DP.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, they actually had DP
surely
in that
they
game
picked
as
DP
well.
more than once.
And they first phased it here, so... Oh, not saying they're going to lose this game, but it is looking very good for T1.
Absolutely.
They're sitting on Aegis, 12k gold lead, an insane late game lineup, which, to be honest, LGD can match for a large portion, but at some point it just feels like when this Doom goes a little bit further and gets that refresher, he should relatively easily be able to get at least one of his Dooms onto Terrorblade, and then it's just a matter of protecting Medusa. He clicks people down one at a time. Level 25s are also somewhat on the horizon here. Medusa level 23.5. For comparison, Ame is level 20 on the Terrorblade, and that's usually just how it goes. A lot of the gold that Terrorblade gets has zero experience with it because of the nature of how he farms. Solar Guardian.
Earth Splitter was used. Solar Guardian actually kept... Sorry, that's the Aghanim Scepter. He actually kept it the entire time. And now Faith Beyond taking the brunt of the damage here as Cuckoo gets to skewer off. Why? With the Force Step, we hear the Exorcism go off as well. Faith Beyond with a nice, beautiful fissure into the Echo Slam. They're going to blow up the Doom. Nothing to say. Trying to maneuver himself around that fissure as Cuckoo pops a BKB into the skewer. TP attempt will be successful at getting out.
Zephyr's in trouble.
He is completely surrounded, gets off the Starbreaker, but dies shortly after. So LGD with a nice exchange here. They lose Faith Beyond.
What a godly key that was.
They get Doom.
Very, very nicely done, yeah. At the very least for T1, they do kill Shaker and they don't lose their Aegis. And, you know, a lot of spells are committed that time around for LGD to find these 2 kills. They use Echo Slam, they use Exorcism. Even the Snapfire ult was used there. Not the biggest deal in this game comparatively. Might mean that T1 are ready for their own move in 30 seconds. They're actually moving out relatively aggressively with 3 heroes here. With those spells on cooldown and an Aegis on Medusa, they feel confident. Like you said, he got the shard, so
yep.
Which single target spells does he even...
Sunder!
Is that the only one?
Spirit Siphon, Sunder.
Spirit Siphon is very, very good. That's true. That is amazing against that.
Does it work on items? I guess not. Like a Yules or something like that?
I don't think so. The wording says spell.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't know that. Very disappointing, I know.
It's okay.
I'll be better.
He actually has Ags queued up after the Silver Edge for 23 Savage, so that'll end up synergizing with the Shard event. People to stone. But on the other side, Ame did complete the MKB like you talked about. I would assume, okay, he actually is going for Daedalus next, so just raw damage for the most part. Still no lifesteal, which is why he's still continuing to keep that neutral item.
Yeah.
And it's not often you see no lifesteal as actual item purchase on a
I'm
TV
being told by chat that it does work on items, so there's a 50% chance that it works on items, probably.
Oh boy.
We're gonna assume that chat always right. Good job. So we'll say it does work on items.
Good to know. I'll believe it when I see it, though. Uh-oh. 23 Savage and company looking to just take some towers here. They'll get the tier 2, it looks like. Well, at the very least, they're poking. I mean, at this stage of the game, this is kind of a high ground defense game for PSG.LGD, especially against an Aegis. And you can't ask for a much better team to defend high ground with literally Elder Titan plus 4 is all you really need.
Yeah.
Like.
How many Force Staffs do they have? They have 0 force stabs on T1. That means effectively Fissure will be a complete block off that they can't really counter. The only hero that really gets out of it is Magnus with the Skewer and the Dawnbreaker with Celestial Hammer. The other heroes will be stuck in a really awkward position. But unfortunately, their siege hero is ranged, so it's hard to Fissure block Medusa if she's hitting from the low ground.
It's really hard to kill her, but 23-7 did actually complete the Ags and does not have buyback now. So killing her once this Aegis is taken out of the picture.
Very true. It's expiring in 5 seconds.
A bit risky, but T1 definitely with the advantage now.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And early Roche is obviously now in 3 minutes with the Aegis just expiring. So plenty of time for both teams to build up further. I think LGD would like to wait with fighting until the Terrorblade Daedalus as well, even though he has MKB Crystallis, which is powerful. He has, based on 23 Savage's item build, I actually think he will overpower the Medusa clearly when he gets the Daedalus, just because the raw damage and 23 Savage has with this build doesn't really match up. If this Aghanim was, say, well, what could have been? He could have had a Daedalus himself at least, which he isn't opting for. He's going for the silver, like we talked about.
Obviously doesn't want to go Butterfly because MKB exists already.
So what would he get? I mean, Rapier would be the obvious choice, right? Since it's a Medusa. At that point, you're probably stronger than the Terrorblade with the Rapier plus Daedalus. But for now, a fully decked out Ame will be terrifying. And also, we're talking a lot about the carry versus carry matchup, but we should be focusing quite a lot on the Magnus and Doom as well for T1. They're really setting up the fights for them, and if any of these get caught by a Fissure, Terrorblade is going to kill them in like 4 hits once these items are done. So, okay, maybe not the Doom, that's a bit of a stretch, but Magnus is not particularly tanky with this build. He's sitting on 19 armor, and that's basically it. None of his items really make him tanky at all.
Still a 77% win probability for T1.
Still looking great. It's been flatlining though.
It has.
For a while.
Y is working on Aghanim Scepter for himself, so that's going to give him basically the BKB once that. What do you think of the shard for that hero, where you take places with your spirit?
Oh, Faith Beyond.
Zephyr. Oh, they force out the BKB. Faith Beyond. It looks like he's going to get Doom mid-jump, though. Cancel his own TP. Attempting to get out. The nice slow coming out as well. And he might actually be fine, but he doesn't have... I guess he does have a TP.
A little bit of indecisiveness there from Carl. I think he wasn't sure whether he really wanted to use this Doom, so he doesn't have it on anyone else, but he ends up throwing it. Refreshes for the Shiva, but just fine Shaker. We'll still have another Doom if it is to break out, but it's probably going to slow down T1 a little bit. Ideally, they want to wait to have at least BKB ready, maybe BKB and Refresher, and in that case, well, then you're fighting into a maxed out Terrorblade here, pretty much. And they'll swap out Sanjay Gasha theoretically, as well as the Power Trap, but I think he wants to keep the SNY for as long as possible. We'd probably see him get like Moon Shard before he replaces that for another item.
Yeah.
So not very much growth left here for Ame for a bit. Main things he wants actually are from Rojan at this point, and maybe a better neutral item. Skewer.
Oh, that's a really long skewer. That talent is insane. Finger of death. And nothing to say. Another death to his name. So despite getting off to, I want to say, a really good start, kind of taped off a bit in this DP. Looks like he's going for Lincoln's next, so the anti-Doom builds are coming. But
still needs to work. Some other cancels though, obviously Mana Drain, Blink.
Yep.
Good trying.
Good attempt there. 60 seconds for nothing to say to come back. It's a buyback though, and still with his ult intact. There's 23 Savage no poking.
There is an exposed Fissure angle when 23 Savage is standing in the hut to get off the attacks. Obviously they had no wave, so they couldn't get vision any other way. Needs to be a little bit careful about the Shaker block. That Medusa in case.
Third rush is up. So, Echo Slam. This is for a Dawnbreaker. Fissure to follow. He's actually going to heal himself and be fine. Harm is coming with that Doom as well. This time they will find the kill. The pump fakes galore. As Faith Beyond drops 65 seconds. No Earthshaker. no buyback, and more importantly, because T1 probably doesn't know a buyback, no Echo Slam anyway.
Yep.
Into the rush pit to go.
Gonna be very confident with this. They will have their second Doom as well in just 15 seconds, so Carl could connect over there, but I don't even think he's gonna need to. I think PSG.LGD are very careful with even approaching Roshan without their shaker.
Yeah.
They're gonna scout it out with the Spirit. It's gonna stomp here.
This is the Aghanim
Nice smash
Scepter,
from Roche.
by
Just
the
gonna
way.
set that up nicely.
Yeah.
But
Looks like they'll get it for free.
well,
You know what we're going to talk about here. There's an axe on the floor.
I thought you were gonna say tier 5 items.
Doom picks it up, so longer Doom duration, and it breaks.
Yep.
Which the break, I mean, against Elder, I mean, not going to want to Doom Elder Titan, I guess, but Natural Order just doesn't work anymore. That's kind of a big deal, I think. Other than that, break doesn't really do anything, does it? It's just for the 6-second duration. Unless I'm missing something. Oh, he gets the ARP. Oh, no, he hard toss after the wrong direction. Oh boy.
We need awards.
Yeah, that's cool. Not my fault. We don't have awards in their tier 4 tower. Yeah, a little bit of miss. I mean, it's just the wrong angle, really. But now RP's down. Can PSG.LGD do anything about this? Or will this just be X amount of seconds off of the Aegis?
I think they want to go. This is big. It's the biggest, one of the biggest spells that has been problematic for them has been this RP. If they get the jump and they pop their BKBs, this could be a big comeback for them. They are still fighting at a massive disadvantage here to Aegis, into 2 Dooms. Actually, only 1 Doom.
Oh, but the refresher just picked up by Cuckoo. They don't know this.
They don't know.
So he has another RP to work with. Very sneaky.
This is very spicy, Carl.
Or smoke now. Fissure into the initiation, but there's a Guardian from far. Can he get the BKB in time? He does. He will live as a result. I mean, we see a big impale on the backside. Nothing to say. Pops his BKB and runs. Or Exorcism is already used, which means T1 just have to wait this out. T1 are looking very good this game. Primed and ready to potentially force this to a game 3. But can LGD come back? I mean, normally I'd be like, it's going to be a tough road for X team to come back from this, but it's LGD, and they've looked virtually unstoppable in the entire tournament.
They've had games with a similar look to this that they still managed to clutch out in the end on high ground. And I'm still going to keep focusing on the fact that T1 have very limited ways of repositioning a couple of their heroes. So once Fissures come in and the Elder Titan Stomp as well, they don't really have a good way of handling that. And keep in mind, Y as well has the Force Staff. We usually see the defensive use, but the offensive use in a game like this is really powerful. If you get the Echo Stomp or a Fissure, you push people into a very bad position inside the red base here. But for now, obviously 23 Savage very safe with the Aegis.
And the cheese in his back pocket as well.
They're looking to trade top.
That's true. Damage is definitely being done right now, but the tier 3 is still relatively healthy. And Dawnbreaker there with the Guardian. If he wants to come in, he's going to take some damage, but will walk away safely. Was Echo Slam just used?
Used it in the last fight when they jumped up.
Now for 20 seconds. Okay. But that's the beauty. You talked about this earlier. That's the beauty of having somebody like Dawnbreaker. You can TP up there, no problem, and just use your ult to get back in the fight if you need to.
Yeah, it's bringing T1 a lot of good right now, having a global hero. That's for sure.
Oh, the jump in again. Nothing to say. Boom! At the Fissure blocks them off a bit. Cuckoo expends RP, and nothing to say. Just completely surrounded, and will be brought down here. They do the flying though, so 1 for 1.
Yo, Savage is in the middle of nowhere here. Could be good, could be bad.
Yeah, right clicks from 23 Savage coming. Doing a lot of damage, but the Fissure continually blocked off.
Could be nothing.
Great tool against the siege tank. That is, if they can try to take advantage of this Aegis. It doesn't look like another minute to go. They did get the mid routes though, and I think if you're T1, you'll be happy with the very least that. Maybe they try to poke here, but again, time's running out.
Yeah. LGD have effectively delayed the second lane of rounds by a decent amount of time. Horn toss.
Yeah, Horn toss. BKB forced. Courier taken out as well. That was most of a refresher, by the way, for Jin Q. Not sure if he has the recipe in his backpack, as we can see the spin now. You can see the Aghanim Scepter go to work. That spell immunity, and away he goes. Aegis 30 seconds. Satanic now online for Ame.
Yeah. 23 Savage needs to be careful not to lose this Aegis when he has low mana. He needs to reset position, make sure he gets all his mana back, or this is over. I mean, they might not want to push anyway, regardless, now that it's gone. So LGD effectively lose mid-melee barracks, which happened about a minute and a half ago. And that's it for this Aegis. So still, T1 are building more and more and more of an advantage. Of course, Doom, I don't even know what he goes now. He's put up a heart. I guess he'll replace Midas for heart now. How greedy are you going to be? How long do you want to keep the Midas for?
Keep the Midas, please. Please.
Can tell you're a Pango player.
Yeah, I definitely buy Midas on Pango.
Don't need boots that much.
Oh, that's true. That's more accurate for him, at least. I mean, is there any consideration to the fact that T1 are running out of slots to upgrade? Is that a silver lining for LGD?
I suppose to an extent. It is still hard to end this game, I think, for T1. That's like the silver lining. Your team is insane on high ground, and anything can happen in super big game Dota. So a lot of the time it comes down to which key core just gets caught by something. Right. Like when the net worths are this high and the buybacks are that expensive and the damage is this crazy.
I mean, look at this, Cinderin. Level 25 position 4 Dawnbreaker. Ame, position 1, still 24. That is...
He's not finding a lot of experience around on the map, that's for sure. It's just mainly the illusions pushing out lanes, so... And it's a good point. The 25 on Ame is actually very important. Those talents are insane.
Yeah.
In the late game, you either get the third 5 seconds more frequent Sunder,
which would
or
you go for
20 meta duration. I don't know, actually. Getting the Sunder down to a 6 cooldown sounds pretty crazy, but you're still playing against so many lockdowns, right? So you probably take the meta duration. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough call. If you get doomed, then the decision might not even matter, right?
Right.
23 Savage has a refresher for himself now, so double BKB. Gaze. Double Silver Edge. Wow. Yep, strong stuff, I know. Oh, Zephyr? It's going to be... That's the Demon Zeal. They're going to be able to take out Dawnbreaker in quick succession here. Carl looking to potentially go in. Pops the BKB. Nothing to say, does the same. Doom actually applied to Ame, but he's already in meta form. I think they'd be fine to fight here.
Carl has used every
one. There's a huge RP from Cuckoo, though, and the workman from 23 Savage just decimating LGD. Earthshaker buys back and second arm. He's getting played, but there is the life steal. But actually, he's getting split shot modifier to work of LGD overall. Can they stun lock Ame? No. Zephyr getting right click down from far. The Sunder Tattle was definitely taken, as you see. Ame used it multiple times. As much as possible. Ame, all he can do is try to lifesteal. It's not going to happen though. Double kill for 23 Savage. Finally will go down. Does have buyback, and Ame's going to expend his. So Jin Q working on Carl right now, burning down that Infernal Blade. Fissure, nicely done. Blocks off Carl completely. Faith Beyond on the wrong side though.
Keep in mind, Carl has no buyback.
Still has that magic immunity. 23 Savage buys back in the game. Looks like they want to try to finish this one way or the other, Cinderin. And there, Carl had jumped. With the finger of death, down he goes. Double kill for him again from LGD. 5 versus 5. Assuming nobody has buyback at this point. Good game finish. And they continue to fight here, or do they want to back?
Oh, the Fissure
on the wrong side. Oh. Provides enough space for 23 Savage to get away safely. This game is insane. 27k net worth lead, and this feels so even.
Who even has buyback anymore?
Does anybody? That's the question.
No. The only players who didn't use it are... They all did.
That is a 10 kill, 10 buy. The first of TI-10 and maybe actually. Insane, man. Oh. Sheepstick now. Oh, sorry, I can't hype up everything. Sheepstick picked up by Doom. And that's a double Sheepstick, double everything. And he is
This is going to be the
basically
item now, this game, I think. Whitemon with the Aeon Disc. I think we might see more players pick this up in this game if it goes longer. When you're without buybacks, that is essentially your second life.
Any kill now is huge.
Yes,
no buybacks.
literally any kill.
PSG.LGD playing it safe. I just can't get over the fact how even that fight was. That was 30k net worth deficit. How is that possible?
I think it really showed how much stronger Ame is than 23 Savage in a raw fist fight. Like, took him so long for the Medusa to finally kill TP.
Roshan.
Yeah.
Number 4 has the Aegis, Cheese, Ags, and Refresh. Our T1 is very nice. Echo Snuff being shown here. LGD.
This is a really big moment.
Looks
for
like
T1.
they're coming to potentially contest. It's already half health though. There's a mortar kisses from afar. That's the look at how much damage that is actually doing. Karl has to be careful. There's a Solar Guardian.
As well.
Has to be used to try to defend Roche as well. Looks like they'll finally get Roche eventually. He's not going to say Mom is actually the jump. Roche is freaking out. Who the hell got the agents? That is first death for Dawnbreaker. Refresher on the ground. Face Beyond's going to take a tumble to 1-for-1. Aegis claim for Savage. LGD to reset. Cuckoo not able to get the right horn toss. Was on an illusion. So T1 getting the better of that, I do believe. They get the Aegis. I can't keep track of these items. 52 minutes in the game.
1-for-1.
Oh my God. That Echo Slam was disgusting.
That was such an ugly setup too, right? Like you shoot the, you start the Mortimer Kiss switch, he's level 25, so he has the strong talent, and they use it to chain with stuns, Fissure it to enchant Tournament Echo, so that Jinkyu did insane amounts of damage in that. He did the most damage out of anyone.
Whitemon was just gifted an Ags, by the way, so we're gonna get the AoE Finger of Death. He has 7 charges of Finger.
Who got all the from Roche?
Well, 8 from Medusa, obviously. There's Cheese.
They don't have the cheese. Where's the? What else was on it?
X was on it, and Fresher Shard. I don't know who got that.
Where's the shard?
You can keep track as I watch buildings die. 50 seconds of no Faith Beyond, 50 seconds of no Dawnbreaker. There's a little bit more LGD considering 23 Savage and they're in the base. So they gonna get second. If they can't for Megas, the tier 2 bot still remains after all this time. That is actually shocking. In fact, just gonna for the tier 4s for now. 27 at level 30. Gonna be a pretty massive power spike for him. Yeah, Karl as well. That's true. So they get 1 tier 4. Trying to take out these illusions. The Echo Stomp, again, just delays constantly. We barely got out of it. But the fact that Lion can destroy the illusions obviously hinders Ame's ability to push out the lanes. And the fact that he has shot the triple mana drain. Tier 4, alright. Faith Beyond is back, and remember, Dawnbreaker can just come in. There's Cuckoo. Oh, kind of steps there. Finally gets off the skewer, back in the fray. You can see. Yes, they can. 120 seconds of no Terrorblade. PSG.LGD might be on the brink here of game 3 if they're able to not hold this off. The Ancient is exposed as 23 Savage continuing to just pound on it, forcing them back into their fountain. This looks like T1 will be forcing the game 3. Cinder and Faith Beyond gets off the Echo Slam though. Why? Comes in. Not a dish to work with them. Nothing. He doesn't have the but okay. Satanic keeping alive. Karl jumps in with the hook stop. He's trying to hit Ancient. 23 Savage. Stop again. It's keeping him at bay. You will Scepter now. Can they kind of enough? Refresher charge using the Cuckoo into the RP. Force game 3.
What a sick game!
Oh my God!
That was hype! I love